My head was still spinning when I finally stood up. It may have even gotten worse. Since the morning, I have been feeling weak and disoriented. I tried to overpower the discomfort and even forgot about it early into my workday. Soon, however, it came back, and I couldn't do much about it. My lunch break was ending, and I spent it lying on the sofa in my office, blocking out all the noise from the surrounding rooms. But after getting up, the feeling only worsened. Ron? A careful voice following a quiet door opening. Yes, I reply and turn towards the sound, holding onto the armrest for stability. I got everything ready and the meeting. Are you okay? Monica's careful tone was replaced by a genuinely sounding concern. No, really. Everything is sort of spinning, but please continue. What do we need to do? I hear words coming out of my mouth, but don't know if they come out in an order that makes sense. Some of them feel strangely flat and meaningless. Nothing. Everything has been done and prepared. All you need to do is be there in 15 minutes. She stands at the door for a few seconds before resuming. But I am sure they would understand if you postponed until you get better. I hope they would. I hope everyone would understand that I am really feeling this bad, and perhaps meeting another day would benefit us all. I am afraid they wouldn't appreciate a cancellation on such a short notice. Please, let's go ahead with everything as planned. Thank you, that will be all. She smiled and removed herself from the room, closing the door softly as always. I sit down and lean back. I can't imagine having to do more than that. The vision of walking to the meeting room at the end of the hall is exhausting on its own. But I came here today exactly to do that, and I know I will. It will simply require more energy and time than any other occasion. I'm more fortunate than most people in this city, and I try to stay aware of that. Not everyone gets picked up from a house of a comfortable size and driven to an office with a door with a lock and a sofa large enough to lie down on. But today, I'm not feeling lucky at all. Do you need help? Wait, let me carry that for you. Monica is back by my side as I cling to the wall, approaching the end of the corridor. My palms sweat, and she easily removes the briefcase from my grip. I don't have the power to protest or fight back. I am grateful for her attention, although it has always made my wife slightly uncomfortable. Thank you, I whisper back, my lips cracking as they move. What is happening to me? Where did this come from? The meeting room door appeared in front of me rather unexpectedly. It takes 5 casual steps to get to my usual seat. I might have to stop to shake some hands, but I should be able to pull that off well enough to raise only minor concerns. Monica hands me back my briefcase, and I catch a glimpse of her caring face. I really am lucky. Then she opens the door to the brightly lit room. There are many more people than I anticipated. Only one seat is empty, and it is much further away than the expected 5 steps. All the eyes in the room turn to me. Mine twitch under the weight of the brightness, as if even the projector's lamp was surprised I showed up. Am I late? Was I briefed on the content of this meeting? After hesitating, I start stumbling towards the seat I now assume is mine. Trying to ignore all the pressure, I land on the chair, only hearing my breath and heartbeat. Shall we start? An unfamiliar voice echoes through the room, and the lights finally dim out. I'm trying to focus on the presentation, but the white rectangle on the wall has melted into an illegible swirl, sucking me in. My fingers are wrapped around the chair. I'm swallowed by the screen. The room has gone. The chair fell from underneath me, and the projector's hum was replaced by complete silence. My palms were still sticky when I realized I was in the same room, but the conditions have changed. I am in the correct seat, 5 steps from the entrance. There are only a few other people, and the light situation is nowhere near as drastic as it seemed moments ago. Most of the meeting went by, and I hardly paid attention. Instead, I kept touching my hands and testing whether I was better or just in the eye of the storm. And more was coming. I never felt anything like this before. Monica was waiting behind the door and quickly joined me when I left the room. "Are you okay? You were pretty pale before you went in. You didn't even respond to any of my notes, and that's quite unusual for someone as opinionated as you are," she chuckled. "I'm sorry, I'm fine. Thanks for helping me earlier." I smiled too. "Helping you?" She sounds confused. "I could barely keep up with you the whole day. You have been moving so fast." She let out a short laugh. "Wait, do you mean you didn't—" I left the sentence hanging unfinished. My palms started to sweat again. She looked at me puzzled, but I continued before she could use the fresh inhale to respond. "Anyway, I shall go back to work. Thank you either way." The usual smile, and then I walk into the office, closing the door behind. I should work, but I should also figure out why Monica didn't remember the incident the same way I did. My computer screen lights up as I sit down, and I see one open document, although I don't remember editing it. The words make sense, but the context doesn't. On the page, I am once again updating the show's lineup to reflect the new members' capabilities. It happens often, and despite my promotions, I wanted to retain a responsibility of this kind, to remember how far I've come in the company. After all, it was my project, and got me where I am right now. The concerning fact about the document is that my name got mixed in the list of performers. All the other names were single-worded stage names, so spotting mine was apparent, and I don't understand how I didn't notice it earlier. The day is over, and I sit behind the driver who deals with the traffic on my way from the office. All of this is still somewhat new to me. My promotion was not meant to happen for a couple of years. However, the success of the show accelerated everything. The largest entertainment company in the city, and my first job. My dad got me in, but he's long gone, and I have surpassed what he achieved within the company anyway. I finally don't feel like things have been handed to me. I look at the world behind the tinted windows and try to avoid thinking about how it felt this morning. I see people walking and wandering around. I see one of our posters, partially torn, partially hidden under another already fainted print. I always knew it would never be a forever ride, but I am scared. What will I do after the excitement completely fades? I'm afraid this was my peak, and I have reached the top of my career. It was all so big that I could not imagine coming up with anything better. Shaking my head, I dismiss the thoughts and focus on the music in my ears and the scene before me. All the people, all the lives and stories. The possibilities are endless. "Ryan," I lean forward to the driver. "Could you please take me to the arena for a bit before we continue home?" Ryan only nodded and took a turn that changed our trajectory. Soon the silhouette of the building appeared in between houses down the street. I have always admired the sheer size of it. The city is large, but few constructions are as imposing as the ENT Arena, the flagship venue of our company that is so difficult to completely fill up. Nothing is scheduled for a while, and one of our shows ended more than an hour ago, so the square in front of the entrance is mostly empty. Only a few people and small groups scattered between the large flower pots, illuminated by the setting sun and the cold light of the giant screens embedded in the side of the building. The city often makes me sad. I remember it nicer, cleaner, and with less despair in the eyes of its citizens. Although I mostly learned to ignore it, it still gets to me, especially on a day like this. At a point in time, I spent so much time inside this building. I hated it from within, but I always admired it from the outside. Looking at it, I see what I accomplished and force myself to acknowledge that it has been here for me before everything. Before my promotions, even before I was the first to ever fill it up completely. Before Ryan, and before my wife.